Texas and recently went back home. Of course, barbecue is one of my favorite cuisine. Rudy's is my go-to in and outside of Austin. But north of Dallas, in the city of Coppell, there's a pit called Hard 8, which makes amazing barbecue. And this is what we tried tonight with one wine and two of our favorite beers. Llano Estacado, Tempranillo. We also had Shiner Bock and Modelo. Okay, we're at home in Texas, and I'm going to do a quick little taste test on some barbecue. So most people are going to go with beer, and in fact, if you go to any one of these pit masters, you're absolutely never going to find a wine selection. And they make a Tempranillo, and I thought this might be a little interesting with the barbecue. It is a Texas wine, so all 50 states make wine. This is one that I really like. Messinahoff makes a few sweeter wines, which might also work with kind of the sweeter Texas barbecue. So, quick taste test. I'm going to start with some brisket. That actually works. It's interesting. It's not very tannic, so it's kind of a nice pairing. And I'm going to tell you right now, my favorite is going to be the Shiner Bock. Yeah, I mean, that's just what kind of a normal person drinks when they're eating barbecue. All right, let's try the Modelo.
I'd probably go for the Modelo just because that would be my preference, is a Mexican lager of some kind.
They all work, but I'll tell you the Modelo's colder, so it's hot outside. Okay, Ellen, this is my sister who lives in Belgium, but grew up in Texas, obviously. So, all right, you have the Shiner Bock, the Llano Estacado, Tempranillo, and the Modelo, right?
Hands down, the Modelo's cold, so.
That's what I said.
That's a winner.
All right, that's it. Texas edition.